Welcome back to Rise&Mine. Today, we're focused on learning how to bring our data into Power Mining. It's such a great tool, and I know you're sitting there saying, how can I get my data in there? Well, today we're going to show you 3 ways to pull your data in. So first one, we're going to actually start with a CSV or Excel flat file, how we're going to move that in. So we're then going to take a file, move it into Fabric and create a Lakehouse to store it, then convert it to a table. And then we're going to take a table within Fabric as well and show you how to move that into PowerMine. Now, you can connect to a lot of multiple systems. So there's tons of connectors that we can actually add to this. But the benefit of linking your data to a system is that our maps are automatically updated. Smarter way to do things. So many times, maybe because of configurations or people just not knowing about this tool and the capabilities, that a lot of organizations don't allow the connection to their data types. So one of the ways we can get around that is we actually still go through data flow, and we're going to basically do a paste in flow. So what we're going to be able to do here is actually copy all of our data here. So we have our case ID, we have our activities, start time, end times. These are just additional pieces. So I highlight the entire file. This is good once you get past 10, 15,000 records. Probably a little too big for what you're trying to do. But for something a little bit smaller that you want access to, you want to see from a data perspective where you're doing a Six Sigma or Lean project or any type of project, we can now understand, let's see, what our data looks like, what our process looks like, and where we can start working on our problems, where we can start fixing things. So same as before, we can actually expand this out and walk through the process, making sure our data, especially then the date and time, are changed. And of course, our case, our activity, and our start time is all taken care of there. We can keep these event level attributes. Now our case ID and activity and our event start are all identified. So we can actually start mapping everything. Fastest way, a lot better than Visio, and you're able to see your data instantly. And we're ready to start looking at our data and then be able to analyze and see where our rework is and see our times, be able to change our views, and we're moving and grooving. Let's walk through creating a lakehouse, importing our data, and then converting that into a table. Fabric Fabric is great as a staging area to import the output of large systems or just refresh the tables within Fabric from your source systems or anything else that has a process or a ton of data and be able to pull this, like I said, into process mining. You can also organize the data while it's in Fabric. Then you're setting up your lakehouse for other users who wish to access similar data. So this way they're seeing the exact same thing that you're pulling. So instead of moving anything or exporting, we're hitting the same set of data that's being shared with others. It's great when dealing with an entire organization's data and you'll pull your data into. Look how simple it is. We click the three dots, right click, and now we are loading our CSV files, whatever files you've imported, as a table into Fabric. Okay, let's get this thing started. We're going to start on Object Centric Mining, and we're going to start by pulling it in from OneLake. So I've already selected. Now I'm going to go to Rise&Mine, and we already have moved our files into our Lakehouse. And so what we're going to do here is we're actually going to identify our objects. And when I say that, we're actually, if you think about the star model, we have a fact table and then we have dimension tables. We have that here, but we actually have multiple fact tables in some cases. So we can actually specify these pieces go to this object, these pieces go to this object. But what we're doing is we're identifying our object and we're going to make sure that the event ID is the object we're going to be focused on here. And then we can track it by order ID and you can switch it back and forth. But that's how everything's going to be linked. And then as we go through and we select our different variables, we will then select which ones are also object IDs. All right. And I'll show you on other videos how we can specify which object is related to this one and how we tie things together. That's what that other column is for object type. This is object centric. Now, what it's doing, it's taking each of our different tables that we have there, and it's starting to show where there is relationships between them. So, for example, item ID and shipment ID that we see right in front of us. Item ID, you can only ship items. So, if you're not shipping an item, something is wrong. So, every shipment will contain at least one item on there. And it could be an item with quantity, so more than one.
So then in order to pay for everything, we also need to have invoice. So if I change it to, and now it's even easier for us to understand the relationship. So what this is saying is that basically we are shipping 65% of our items. See how that's listed like that? So 37% of the items that are available are shipping. Now, where's the other ones going? We can start expanding our different activities and start seeing other maybe rework loops where we don't have payment, authorization, those types of issues. We have a lot of rework, it has to go back. Maybe we're packing and repacking, right? So if that's going on, then we want to see maybe which items or where things are changing in that area. But this gives you a very clear distinction that because we are missing 34% of our items that were ordered, we cannot send out a partial shipment. So now only 37% of shipments can go out, meaning we only filled 26% of our customer orders. This is what we call a hidden bottleneck. And this is a flow problem. And that's what SQL sometimes hides when we have these reports. If you want to learn more about object centric modeling, we have one on that, a video on that. And if you want to dive deeper into your orders and cases, we have more videos on that as well. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.